20 years ago, they wouldn't let the troops use depleted uranium. They wouldn't let the troops use depleted uranium in combat because they knew it was a blowback soft kill weapon where it ignited, even if it was a small round or a large, and that you would breathe it, and then it would reduce your life expectancy by decades. They don't care now. Now they just use it. Each psychopaths are running things. I've analyzed the globalists. They are destroying their own future and their own system. They're into death. Everybody I know wears skulls. I see old ladies with handbags now with skulls all over them. I see children in the elevators with big posters of two young women grabbing each other in a sexual embrace, scantily clad with little children. We have become a demonic hell force. We have become a huge, giant demonic cancer, bubbling and pussing and scrofulating into hell itself. We are in a total emergency. The people have literally been put into a trance. Everybody in this hotel is wearing football jerseys. The dealers, the servers, everybody's wearing football outfits, mindless jerseys, and the men are all wearing them, and the women are all wearing them. And I was sitting in a restaurant, and the Bears won the football game yesterday, and the guy looked at the woman and said to her, "You're not cheering." And it was just all this weirdness that they don't even have a culture. They don't even have a future. They don't have anything. They just sit there sycophantically watching this game as everything implodes and burns down. And now, all over the country, they're not letting people get their cash out. All over the country, people come in with $5,000 from a car they sold. Say, "Give me cash." "No, we're not giving it to you. You got to deposit it here, and then we'll put fines and fees on you and let you get it out over a month." It is total prisoner behavior. Every time I cross the state line and try to use my credit card for gas or anything, it's not fraud protection. It's keeping tabs on me. It's getting me used to I can't use my money. Everybody is being conditioned for this. Everybody is being told this. And now, Aaron, what do you make of the open demonization of the Declaration of Independence and mainstream media going, "Yeah, is it bad?" Well, let me tell you, they teach police that it is bad. I have footage.
That's right. That's right. I've been told that from people, too, I know, who are training for law enforcement, that they're taught in college that the Constitution no longer applies, Alex.
Well, let's just tell people who. That's your brother.
Yeah.
Now, let's expand on this. I have the footage from 11 years ago in Kansas City. They teach police George Washington's bad. They actually say Thomas Jefferson's bad. These are the traitors. Folks, if you're a cop sitting there being trained that the Founding Fathers are bad, the bad guys are the ones that would tell you that. I mean, that's like if the Soviets took over or Hitler did, they'd be telling us crap like this. I mean, come on, folks. Right there. That'd be like if space aliens landed and said, "George Washington is bad, your new ruler is Google Bobble." I mean, it's that insane, that naked, that out in the open, Aaron.
It is, and it's natural rights, as this article points out, but they try to dismiss that, Alex. They're going to demonize it. We'll be back after this break.
We've got a bunch of globalist banker boys and their media whores and hired goons telling us we're the bad people when we're the Americans. Get it through your stinking head. You people are traitors and enemies, and we will rout you out, and we will defeat you. Listen, Aaron, I'm gonna let you go over and go to Henningsen, and when you come in with Henningsen, you can break this down, but I got to tell people this. Folks, this is happening faster and faster, and this is why it's happening. The bankers knew when they created the derivative bubble 12 years ago this was going to happen. They planned it. They have been training to take us down and to have a cashless grid for decades. They've been doing it in earnest since 1998, so 13 years. It's on. This is all planned. It's admittedly planned. It is a global, I'm getting chills, a global banker dictatorship. Think about your children. Think about the Republic. Think about a science fiction movie 50 years ago where the Constitution's demonized and people have government grabbing their genitals for no reason and treating everybody bad with domestic checkpoints. And I kept warning people about domestic checkpoints. They said, "Oh, you're a kook, it isn't going to happen," even though the Marines and Army have been involved for years. I can't handle it anymore, folks. They are putting, I'm going to say this to the people in the trance, they are putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. Murdering, psychopathic, eugenicists run things. They are putting deadly radioactive isotopes in the water, not just fluoride, you idiots. You idiots out there that think I'm making this stuff up. You don't even care about your families and nothing. Look at what I'm telling you. You people are idiots. You need to wake up right now and break your conditioning right now. We're under full-scale attack. You people can't understand this. You can't listen to me because it's not a direct attack in It's creeping death. It's creeping, sneaky, scientific, New World Order, chicken neck, control freak, coward garbage. And I look at the public deep under globalist trances. They're actually victims. We've got to reach out to these zombies and somehow try to wake up as many zombies as we can, because they're going to use these zombies as weapons against us, Aaron. It's all coming down right now, and I just can feel it in my gut and see it intellectually.
We're in a lot of trouble, Alex. I wish something you said wasn't true, but obviously it is. And they're going to trash the Fourth Amendment. They're going to try to stop the First Amendment.
They're coming for everybody. They're going to kill us with guns as well. Folks, all I can say is get geared up, get ready, warn everybody you know. It's 1776. You are the Paul Reveres. If you're hearing my voice, you are the resistance. Ah!
Hi, this message is for Aaron Russo. This is Anthony Burke at the Internal Revenue Service. Let me suggest some people that you might want to think about talking to. One would be Don Alexander, who's a former commissioner who's here in town in Washington. Another would be Sheldon Cohen, who is both a former commissioner and former chief counsel. All those guys, I think, can answer your question about, where in the tax law it says that you have to pay taxes.
Wow, good news, I thought. So I called Sheldon Cohen because he used to be the IRS commissioner. He wrote the tax code, and he was also general counsel to the IRS. He is a true expert, and I couldn't find a better person to answer my questions. He graciously agreed to my interview. The reason I'm doing this documentary is because there are many people in America today who believe that there's no law that requires them to pay an income tax or file a 1040. And there are many people going to jail for it, fighting over it.
The Internal Revenue Code is authorized by the 16th Amendment.
I think it should be clarified. I think government should be transparent to the people. Why doesn't the IRS commissioner sit down with them and just explain it in clear English? Why?
I don't think they really care. They don't think. I think they're just playing word games.
You don't think they're sincere people?
No, I don't think they're sincere people.
What does voluntary compliance mean? And why does the IRS code say it's voluntary to comply, not mandatory?
That's a word euphemism we use. We use voluntary compliance when we talk about traffic signals. Most people, at 2 o'clock in the morning, do you stop at a red light?
Yeah.
Is there a cop there?
Sometimes I don't.
Well, I do, and most of us do. Most of us do.
Right.
But that's voluntary compliance.
That was a complete perversion of logic. Traffic laws state that it is mandatory to stop at a red light. The IRS code says it's voluntary to comply. Mandatory and voluntary are the complete opposite of each other. Yet he wants us to believe that they mean the same thing. So can the government criminally prosecute somebody of information put on their 1040?
Yes.
Right, so doesn't that violate the Fifth Amendment?
No.
But the Fifth Amendment says I don't have to do anything that incriminates myself.
Well, it doesn't incriminate you to put your income down.
But you said before I could be put in jail for it. The commissioner wants us to believe that although the IRS demands that you fill out the 1040 and you can go to jail for it, that they are not violating your Fifth Amendment rights of self-incrimination. That is absurd. Isn't it true that the word income is not defined anywhere in the Internal Revenue Code?
The law says that the government has a right to tax income from any source derived.
So, but the word income is not defined in the code. It just says income without a definition
That's right.
of what income is.
That's right.
Correct?
Yeah.
But there are many different kinds of taxes. Well, how can an American citizen know what income is if the code doesn't define it? If they're paying an income
Because
tax...
the courts have all defined it.
Do you remember what constitutional attorney Edwin Vieira said?
The definition of income in the Constitution was given in the Eisner versus Macomber case, and it turns on gains or profits that are made from some activity.
So the Supreme Court has ruled income is not wages, it's not labor, it's gain from corporate activity. I believe that a man's labor is his private property.
That's your view, but it's not the law.
The Supreme Court's even said your labor is your private property. When I go to work for somebody, it's a trade. It's an even exchange. I do some work, You give me some money.
In 1916, we had the Bruce-Shaber case and the Stanton case. And the Bruce-Shaber case and the Stanton case said that the 16th Amendment gave the government no new taxing power.
I'm not going to argue the niceties of that with you.
And it came up again in a case called Peck versus Lowe, where the Supreme Court said the 16th Amendment did not extend Congress's taxing power to any new or accepted subjects. In other words, if you weren't taxable before the 16th, you weren't taxable after the 16th.
Today I interviewed a juror, who sat on a case, and they found the person not guilty for lack of filing, okay? And I asked her why they found him not guilty. And she said because the IRS couldn't show us the law that made him liable to file a 1040.
All they need to do, if there is a law, is to show us the law, which, of course, they never did.
And the reason they didn't do it was why?
Because there is no law.
Title 26 requires you to file a return.
But doesn't Title 26 have to be in compliance with the Supreme Court decisions?
You're going to take a 1920 case and superimpose it on the whole Internal Revenue Code that was written after it? No, that's not.
I can't believe what I just heard. Rewind.
You're going to take a 1920 case and superimpose it on the whole Internal Revenue Code that was written after it? No, that's not.
Remember he said earlier the Internal Revenue Code was authorized by the 16th Amendment?
The Internal Revenue Code is authorized by the 16th Amendment.
Remember, the Supreme Court said the 16th Amendment did not give the government any new taxing power. These decisions have never been overturned. Let's listen further. Can the lower courts overrule the Supreme Court?
No.
How are they putting people in jail today for not paying a tax on their labor when the Supreme Court said they don't have to? Doesn't the IRS code have to be in compliance with the Supreme Court? That's my big question.
This is a waste of time.
Well,
because whatever I say, you're not going to believe.
He's right. I don't believe him. And neither should you. He wants us to believe we should obey the IRS code, which is being enforced in violation of the many Supreme Court decisions. If the Supreme Court made a decision...
Thank you, Aaron. I think we're finished.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cohen, you're doing that.
Well, I'm sorry that you constantly re-argue the point. You're liable because the law says that you're liable, and the courts say the law says you're liable, and that's why you're liable.
You see, he's talking about the lower courts, who are not in compliance with the Supreme Court, as they have to be. Doesn't the court have to be in compliance with the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court has so held.
Where?
You caught me unprepared.
I'll come back.
Well, I don't want to do that.
But let me ask you a hypothetical question.
No. You're making silly arguments here.
Why is the Supreme Court decision a silly argument?
Well, because it's inapplicable.
That made my heart stop. He just said Supreme Court decisions do not apply to the IRS. That's the behavior you would expect from a totalitarian country, maybe China or Russia or Cuba. Not from America. They're just making up the law as they go along. Now I knew the tax honesty movement was right. The IRS thrives on intimidation and fear, not by law. It's no different than a criminal protection racket, using force to extract your money from you. Then the former IRS commissioner, now working at a prestigious Washington law firm, threatens me. Watch.
Aaron, you understand Yiddish. Cornish helfen.
For those of you who don't understand Yiddish, that means nothing will help you. Now it all became clear. I understood why the IRS wouldn't go on camera and talk about where the law was. I understood why all the senators I called refused to be interviewed. There is no law. And now you know what our political leaders and the courts have known for decades and have tried to cover up. The United States Constitution strictly forbids a direct, unapportioned tax on the wages and salaries of American citizens. The United States Supreme Court has consistently ruled that the income tax is a tax on profits and gains, not on labor and wages.